is rare to see KreekCraft get into drama, but it is not impossible. Recently, KreekCraft got into drama over a game that he is making, and the reaction from the community is pretty mixed to say the least. So the Roblox event Twitter account tweeted out his new game KreekCraft is making, and the game name is called Sale for Brain Rots. If you look at that thumbnail, it says 67,835,234 dollars per second, and there's a 6-7, so yeah, clearly there's 6-7 memes in there, and yeah. The reply to like ratio seems to be pretty good. It's like at the time when I took this picture, it was like 725 likes compared to 122 replies, so that's pretty good. But that's not the whole situation. KreekCraft replied to the Twitter account with this blob of text. It is quite long. If you want to pause and read it, that's fine, but I'll condense it for you right now. Basically, he clarifies that the game has not been released yet, so it's still in development. And he plans to use this game to provide funding for another game that he'll make for $100,000, so yeah. But KreekCraft, he recognizes that the Twitter community does not like brain rot because KreekCraft's audience on YouTube is mostly young kids, maybe around the age of 12. But on Twitter, it's because you have to be 13 to own a Twitter account, so it's more mature people, so yeah, he recognizes that they don't like brain rot, they prefer other types of games, I guess, so yeah. And here's where the drama starts. So I'm going to first read the replies that are kind of positive, they're not negative, just wishing KreekCraft good luck. But one of the replies is by Asimo, who is the creator of Jailbreak. He basically says that you're getting way too much hate for just writing a meme, and you're spending your own money to pay your devs well. I respect that. I want to see your passion project, so he's alright with the game KreekCraft is making about brain rots. It is just a meme, I mean 6-7, it's just a meme. He appreciates Kreek pays his developers, so yeah. Then we have Mr. Nightfox. He says, Kreek, I'll play this game if you help turn my channel around, so he's like, oh, this game will help me make money, so don't worry if you watch these content creators. I mean, they care about your audience, but they also need to make money since it's their job as well, so yeah. I know you think oh, they're just doing it for money, but it's well, you need money to survive, so yeah. And these are kind of positive replies from Roblox developers, YouTubers, but however, here comes the hate. So basically, I blurred over the usernames and the profile pictures of those that sends hate replies to KreekCraft, so it's if you're one of those and you regret it, don't worry, I blurred it out, so you can delete the post later if you change your mind, so yeah. Anyway, the first one says, Roblox has a slot problem. And then he puts another line that says, contribute to the slot problem. Saying that's what KreekCraft is doing. I don't know how to phrase it. I mean, I think the picture kind of explains it pretty well. So, yeah. Then we have another guy that says, dude, honestly, you really fell off after the Timid game. I've seen so many people use the it's for my passion project excuse, but why should I believe you? I genuinely believe this is solely for your bank account and seeing the stuff you stream now. About the bank account, if you didn't know, KreekCraft actually has made over $2 million just by playing Steel Brain Rot. I mean, he was already a millionaire before, but he made even more just by playing a silly Brain Rot game, so yeah. There are some people who misinterpreted what KreekCraft meant by spending $100,000 on making a game. Like this guy, he says, 100k for a Brain Rot game is ridiculous. For less than 50k, you can make a Rivals type game. And while the 100k isn't actually going to the Brain Rot game, that's just KreekCraft's own money, and the amount he's spending on the Brain Rot game is unspecified. But while the 100k isn't going to the Brain Rot game, I do actually understand what this guy means by spending 100k for a game in general. Here's the thing. Games on Roblox can be created for a lot less than $100,000. In fact, it's really supposed to be free. I mean, that's what Roblox was really meant to be, was a cheap way to make games so that anyone can do it. But unfortunately, that was back in the 2010s, the early 2010s. And nowadays, it's well, you kind of need to be part of a studio if you want to make a popular game. Or even make a game at all, because there are so many roles, and it's you can only focus on one of them because you're either doing school or work, so yeah. I do think that 100k is a bit kind of excessive as well. But I understand that KreekCraft wants a high quality game from the start, which usually that's not really what games do. It's kind of well, it's kind of low quality at the start, and then they build on quality later on. I guess similar to Tower Defense Simulator if you want to look at that timeline. But yeah, because I feel KreekCraft wants a high quality game from the start. That's probably why he says he needs 100k to make the game. But I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I'm not a developer, so I wouldn't know. But yeah. Then we have this guy. I didn't blur out his username because KreekCraft responded to him, but Millionaire basically says, "You are getting scammed. A game doesn't cost 100,000 USD. Trust me, I promise you, whoever you're hiring is scamming you," and puts a broken heart emoji. And KreekCraft actually responds to him saying, "Hiring over a dozen developers, artists, animators at a decent salary and wage, it does. I'm not going to be one of those guys that doesn't pay people fairly." And Millionaire basically responds with, "Respect." And I'm glad KreekCraft was paying his developers well because, like, there are a lot of scams on Roblox, like, regarding development. Like, it's, like, unbelievable. Like, even from famous people, like, oh, they kind of, like, they're going to say, like, oh, I'm going to pay you this much amount of money, and then they don't. And then the developer who was hired, it's like, they can't even call out that famous developer because it's like, whose word is the community going to believe? The famous developer or just some random developer? So, yeah. I think it happened with GameFam back, like, a few years ago. But, yeah. But I'm happy KreekCraft is paying his developers fairly. I mean, that's really important. Then we have Hugo that says, "Don't worry about Twitter." And KreekCraft responds with, "Yeah, that's a valuable lesson I learned over my years. If I listened to Twitter, my channel would have died 10 years ago. With that being said, there's value in the feedback, whether positive or negative." And Hugo just responds with, "Lots of interesting feedback, viral factor for non-video content, finding underrated talents, and making good contacts. But easy backlash." And he puts an orange juice bottle. I don't know why, but yeah. Like, KreekCraft is right, though, financially. Because, like, if you just listen to the community, like, he would still be stuck at, like, I don't know, like, 3 million subscribers. Whereas right now he's at 16 million, so, yeah. I mean, that's actually kind of like what Roblox does in a way, where it's like, they want to listen to the community, but they also have to care about, like, finances. Because if you just listen to the community all the time, then, like, well, the community doesn't know how finances work exactly. I'm not blaming the community here, or calling them stupid, but, like, they don't know specifically, like, how Roblox can make money, and, yeah. So that's why Roblox may not always listen to the community. I mean, yeah, they make dumb decisions sometimes, but yeah. I'm personally not a big fan of brain rot games, like, but it's really profitable for KreekCraft or anybody that does this type of content because, like, many players on Roblox since, like, last year like brain rot style content. Like, see Steel Brain Rot, for example. Like last year I had over 25 million concurrent players. Like, 25 million players were playing Steel Brain Rot at the same time. And that was the highest player count ever recorded. In any game, not just Roblox, but any game in general. And this is just in general a good funding source for future games, which might be a style that more people would enjoy, which I look forward to that, so yeah. And I said it before, but I'll say it again. I appreciate KreekCraft for properly paying his developers. Like, I know he has good morals. Like, I don't really talk to him. I've talked to him before. It was, like, at VidCon, but, like, last year, but I know he has good morals. Then, just like a couple hours ago, like with the drama and everything, he basically tweets this saying, like, "I appreciate the discussion around the game because, like, there's been a lot of, like, criticism, constructive criticism, so it's like, they want the game to succeed, but they're still kind of critical." But he says, like, "I appreciate the discussion around the game, but it's not even fully released yet or announced, lol, and I've already been, like, once swatted over it, to getting death threats, and have people try and dox my family. I knew Twitter was crazy, but damn, at least let me announce it first." And yeah, I mean, KreekCraft is right on that one. Like, it is not okay to try to swat or dox someone or send them death threats just because you don't like their opinion. Like, if you don't like KreekCraft's game, just don't play the game. Like, it's just that simple. Find another game to play. This looks to me as just like a fun and silly project. Like, nothing's wrong with it. Though I do have one concern about the game KreekCraft is making. Not the passion project, but like the brain rot game. If the brain rot game is going to be used as a funding source for another game, will this game still be high quality? That's my question. And also, will it still continue to be updated after the other game gets released, aka the passion project? I'm just kind of concerned because, like, usually brain rot games like this are like games that players like to spend Robux on. And if they spend Robux, it needs to be worthwhile. Like, you can't just spend Robux and it's like, oh, it becomes useless after like 2 months. Like, no, it has to be like at least like useful for like 6 months. If anyone that works on the game has an answer, please just let me know. That'd be really helpful. And yeah. Fun fact, 2 other YouTubers have previously made a brain rot style game just a couple of days ago. Basically, Steak and Kalos have made this game called Survive Lava for Brain Rots. And even though I've never played the game before, I like the concept. Like, it looks pretty exciting. And KreekCraft, I wish you the best of luck on this game. It's going to perform well, I'm pretty sure, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe, and have a good day or night whenever you're watching this.